Hi, I'm Elly. Today I'm going to read you a story called The Couch Potato. Are you ready to listen? Okay, I'm going to read the story. The Couch Potato. It didn't belong here. No one knew where it came from, but there it was. Mr. Russet was the first to spot it. He had just finished zipping Raid's and Violet's backpacks for school and waving goodbye to Mrs. Russet and as she headed off to work when he caught his eye. Right in the middle of a couch, a potato. Mr. Russet had planned it to a bite of tidying in the living room, but the sight of the potato changed his mind. Every day I pick up this, I pick up that, I pick up everything, he exclaimed. I will not pick up that potato. And he left the room without picking up anything at all. Raid came across a potato when he got home from school, but he didn't see a potato. He saw a giant boulder with the middle of a farmer's field. His toy trackers had to work together to move it. His toy trackers had to work. E- eventually, a mudslide buried the potato boulder. Mrs. Russet got home from work and put her feet up to the red newspaper, but she just couldn't get comfortable. Had the couch always been this lumpy? She reached under a cushion and pulled out a potato, which she amused with was a ball, and tossed it across the room. Frisky, the family dog, caught the potato and spent a happy hour playing with it before returning to its spot in the couch, slightly more slobbery than it had been before. Some time later, Violet wandered into the room and spotted the couch potato. It looked pretty ugly sitting there, so she dressed it in her doll's pink tutu and a baseball cap. Mr. Russet was a fully dressed potato sitting on the couch and blinked. It was a vegetable, for goodness sake, not a house guest. His fingers twitched and he nearly picked it up, but instead he shoved his head deep into the pocket. He was not going to pick up that potato, and he was not going to pick up anything else either. That evening, Mrs. Russet and Raid and Violet sat squished together at one end of the couch. As they watched TV, the potato had a whole cushion to itself. Mr. Russet sat in the armchair glowering. As Mr. Russet continued his potato protest, the mess around the potato grew and grew and grew. One evening, Mrs. Russet reached under a couch cushion from the TV remote and ended up with a toothbrush and then a dirty sock and then an umbrella. Eventually, Violet found a remote in a soccer shoe under the dog bed. Mr. Russet started spending a lot of time in potato-free rooms. After 5 days, Mr. Russet's hairbrush got lost in the mess, and he stopped brushing his hair. After 7 days, all of his coffee mugs also disappeared, and he started drinking his coffee out of soup bowls. After 9 days, Mr. Russet noticed that the potato was wearing his favorite sunglasses, and he decided that he could take it no longer. He picked up the potato. That night, he prepared a mouth-watering feast for his family. There were hamburgers and tacos and noodles, and in the very middle of the table, Mr. Russet placed a steaming hot plate of golden French fries. Mrs. Russet, Ray, and Violet all smiled and reached for a delicious crispy fry, and then all at once they stopped. Violet looked at Ray, and Ray looked at Mrs. Russet, and Mrs. Russet looked at Mr. Russet. Then, ever so slowly, they leaned back in their dresses and peered into the living room. Suddenly, no one was hungry anymore. Well, almost no one. Almost no one. Do you know who is that? Dad. He cooked a potato. Sorry, it's just a sound. Yes, okay, and this is the end of the story. Okay, you never knew that shit. Okay, and thank you for listening to my story. Bye.